Flat earthers make many different claims that they believe provide evidence for the flat earth, often saying things such as, gas pressure requires a physical container, or water can't stick to a spinning ball. Now I'm just going to go ahead and start with the claim that gas pressure requires a physical container. First of all, the formula required to find atmospheric pressure is shown here, and this formula is derived from the principle that the weight of the atmosphere above any given point exerts a force on the air molecules below. That's what gives us atmospheric pressure. The pressure decreases as altitude increases because the weight of the air above decreases with altitude. This can easily be measured using something like a barometer. And just as gravity and the globe would predict, the atmospheric pressure indeed does decrease as altitude increases. And the pressure gradient within our atmosphere also demonstrates that at no point are we going to have some kind of high pressure immediately next to a vacuum. Even in the most extreme vacuums in space, there's still some pressure. It's incredibly small, but it's still there. But what would we expect to happen if the Earth was truly in an enclosed system like flat earthers claim? So gas tends to spread out uniformly in a confined space over time due to the random motion of its constituent molecules. This is known as the principle of diffusion, which is based on the idea that gas molecules are constantly in motion and tend to spread out to fill the available space. Now, what if we apply this principle to the atmosphere? Well, if the atmosphere was in a closed container, the gas pressure would eventually equalize throughout the container. The only way that you're going to be able to avoid the gas pressure equalizing is by either A, accepting gravity, which unfortunately would make the flat Earth coalesce into a ball, or B, saying that the Earth accelerates upwards at a rate of 9.8 meters per second squared. But flat earthers don't like either of those explanations, and unfortunately that means that they have no reason to explain why we observe a pressure gradient within our atmosphere. In other words, what I'm trying to say is that the only way we can explain a pressure gradient, whether it be in a container or not, would be by using gravity. But since flat earthers deny gravity and can't tell me where the 9.8 meters per second squared downwards acceleration comes from, that means that the gas pressure would equalize. Again, this is because the gas molecules are in constant motion and tend to spread out uniformly within the confined space. But allow me to reiterate, in real life what we see is that as we increase our altitude, our atmospheric pressure will decrease. Again, this is something that we can predict before we even measure it by using gravity. And gravity is something that flat earthers are going to have to deny the existence of, or else their flat earth no longer works. Another thing that flat earthers claim is that nobody has ever seen the curvature of the earth for themselves. This claim is demonstrably wrong, and I'm going to show you a few ways that you can see the curvature of the Earth, even for yourself. First, we're going to start with something called a horizon dip angle. Now, what the globe predicts is that as our height increases, our eye level line and the horizon will have a greater angle between them. But on a flat Earth, due to linear perspective, you would expect that the horizon would always rise to eye level. So now let's go ahead and take a look at what we see in real life. Now, what I'm showing here on screen was taken by someone named the Main Surveyor on YouTube. And here's another picture that was taken for the other face of the theodolite. Now, I'm sure I don't need to point this out, but I will just in case anyone doesn't know what they're looking at here. There is a clear dip angle that we are observing between this level line and the horizon, which is here. And luckily for us, the Main Surveyor even left a screenshot of his logbook so we can see exactly what the dip angle is. And the measured drop would be about 7 minutes and 39 seconds with a standard deviation of plus or minus 3 arc seconds. This observation was taken from an elevation of about 22 meters, and the reason we're seeing that kind of a dip angle is again because of the curvature of this big beautiful Earth right here. Again, we have another observation in real life that does not match what a flat Earth would predict. Another thing that flat earthers like to say is that water always finds its level. And often what I'll do to reply to this claim is mention how we have high tides and low tides happening simultaneously at different places on the Earth. By definition, that means that the water is not level. And as I would hope we would all know, level just means having no part higher than another. Now, an easy way to think about this is to imagine a plane flying at 30,000 feet and its altitude is staying constant. Whether the surface underneath it is curved or flat does not matter here, because again, all level is having no part higher than another. But furthermore, level is going to be determined by gravity. Now, when an object is level, that means that its surface is perpendicular to the force of gravity. So obviously that means that if an object is not level, it means that its surface is at an angle to the force of gravity, and the normal force is no longer perpendicular to the object's surface. Now, the reason gravity affects whether something is level or not is because it causes objects to be attracted towards the center of the Earth. And when an object is at rest on a surface, such as a table or the ground, the force of gravity acting on the object is balanced by the normal force exerted by the surface. And again, like I said before, if an object is not level, it means that its surface is at an angle to the force of gravity. To make a long story short, all I'm trying to say is that flat does not equal level. And for my final point, I wanted to show that the Earth's curvature can even be seen from a plane. Now, I want to start off by saying this screenshot behind me was taken from a video by Wolfie6020. And I already know what you guys are thinking. Either A, it's the window distorting it, or B, we're looking through a fisheye lens. Now first things first, we can prove that it's not the window distorting the image because this is a look through the exact same cockpit. Now looking through this window, we can see that the hangar door in front of it has remained straight, as it is in real life. So quite obviously, the window is not distorting this to make it appear curved. So now we know for sure that this image here is not showing the window distorting the horizon. Now we're also lucky enough that Wolfie panned the camera up and down, so we can prove for sure that it's not a fisheye lens or a wide angle lens that's distorting the image. Now we can see even with the horizon at the very top of the frame, the curvature still has remained the same. And again, even when the horizon's at the bottom of the frame, we still have the same rate of curvature. So in conclusion, what we figured out today is that what the Flat Earth predicts does not match what reality has to offer. Flat Earth has no consensus, Flat Earth has no model, Flat Earth has nothing that would be required for it to be a probable hypothesis. So now to finish, I just want to say one thing. To accept Flat Earth is to deny reality. And with the hefty price tag that carries, I'm surprised that anyone has bought it.